out of the healthcare system before they got the care they needed, it really changed the way I thought about our system. And this woman came up to me on this campaign trail
for dignitaries
this time.
on the top
She's a
floor,
lovely
and a lot of
older
people
white woman, and we were in mid-Michigan somewhere. And she pulls me aside. She's like, you know why I like you? I was like, why? She's like, well, because you're like the family dog. And for a minute, I was like, what? Oh, great. And she's like, no, I know that if the kids were taking rides on your back, you would give them rides on your back forever and ever and ever, and you would love it. And I know that if an intruder came into our home, you would maul them. I'm like, you got me. And that's the side of things that I've had to struggle with. How righteously mad can I be on behalf of people who've had a system that is architected against them in ways that actively lies to them? And that me off. I mean, it just.
Well, is there in the global picture of things a healthcare system that you look at and you'd like to transplant into the United States?
There are parts of different healthcare systems I'd like to. And here's the thing about it. Let me step back. My life's an accident history. I know what my life would have been, but for the accident that I get born in America. And my grandmother, when I'd go to Egypt, she would do everything she could to hammer that in. She'd be like, the only thing you've got over any of your cousins, who are just as smart, just as anything as you, is that you get to go back to America at the end of the summer. And the thing about America is that we don't do things like other people. We do them better. I mean, I love that about our country. And it's funny when we talk about healthcare, there's always this sense of like, well, whose healthcare system do you want then? I'm like, I don't know. I want an American healthcare system that's just better. I think we could do a single payer system better than any country in the world. You know why? We already spend 19% of our whole GDP on healthcare. I'm just like, why do we ever limit ourselves on anything? We are the richest, most powerful country, most innovative country in the history of the world. And you want to tell me that the best we can do is charge people so much effing money that we owe $225 billion of medical debt as a country? That's the best we can do? Come on, y'all. This is America, right? I've seen what America can do for people. I also see too often what America does not do for too many of her kids. And that's why I'm doing this.
We're right now looking at a healthcare system that's not only characterized by all the faults that you're describing, but also the specifics of having RFK Jr. and the MAHA movement as the most prominent voices in the health sphere. How do we go about rebuilding trust in public health?
Let me tell you a story, David, because I think it helps to explain this.
Hello, Alina.
During the height of the pandemic, I was talking to a group, outdoors, fully masked, etc., about taking the vaccine. And I'm never going to forget this gentleman.
I saw
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I've been the health commissioner for the city of Detroit,
Awesome.
talking about getting this vaccine, how critical it was. He said, look, man, I know
fantastic.
you, I've seen you, I was on CNN at the time. Like, I trust you. I'm going to get my vaccine, but it's just weird to me that you all are out here trying to get me to take a vaccine that didn't exist a year ago for a disease that didn't exist a year ago, when I can't afford my insulin, which is a medication that's existed for like 100 years, and that for a disease I have my whole life.
Shouldn't be $1,500 a month.
When are you all going to show up to make sure I get to take my insulin? And I was like, damn, like, you're right.
I'm not quite clear what you're saying. You're saying, Abdul, that what the mistrust was such that it opened the door to conspiracy thinking?
Exactly. Is that once you don't trust the industry because it's so expensive and they're so clearly trying to pick your pocket, at that point, it's not that hard for somebody like an RFK Jr. to come in here and then say, well, you don't even need the things that they make anyway. Like, here are these alternatives that they're keeping you from. They don't want you to know, right? And I think to build trust again,
sorry to hear about
we have to address the greed part in the system. Because once people feel like they can get access to the things that science has delivered, I think it becomes a lot easier then to have an honest conversation about what is the best way to prevent measles? What is the best way to protect ourselves from, I don't know, cyclosporiasis?
He's going to be Michigan's senator.
We live in a moment right now in Michigan, which is crazy to me, where we're dodging lettuce. And we just had the worst air quality of our history for the second summer in a row. I mean, air quality and lettuce were the two things that I tried to dodge in my summers in Egypt. And so I think we're at a moment right now where we're seeing the end outcome of disinvesting in public health. And I think we have an opportunity, if we're serious about taking on the corporations that have been monetizing our healthcare system and killing trust, to actually be able to rebuild trust again.
Abdul El Sayed, that was
Democratic
awesome.
Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed of Michigan.
I'm done. We're driving.
With more in a moment. This is the New Yorker Radio Hour.
But I'll be back in a minute because Sounds like they're taking a break.
The New Yorker Radio
More in a
Hour is
moment.
supported by Swan Auction Galleries,
He's so
an
awesome.
auction house of collectors for collectors since 1941, offering live in-person
Abdul El
auctions in New
Sayed
York
is our
City
hero.
and online live bidding from
And we can
afar.
be American
Swan's
heroes
auction
by helping him
schedule
out.
is available at swangalleries.com.
The movie was
In
awesome.
contrast to other news outlets,
Spider-Man was fantastic. He said, how was the movie? Does it doing really great? You really like the Spider-Man movie? It's really cool. Yeah, it's awesome. And then I'll read your comments about Fun America. And bad news about it, Fun America will be closing about tomorrow, the last day, the final day at 10 p.m. at night. And I was emotional. It's been open 36 years, since 36 years. Yeah, I thank you. It was really hard and sad part. I was crying so hard all day. I cried all day because the saddest part has just been really painful and it hurts. I'm sorry. Hello, Judson. We're going to hear more from Abdul El Sayed in just a minute. Yeah, Spider-Man was awesome. Go see Spider-Man in theaters. That's with the rumble seat, so it makes you feel like you're Spider-Man, like swinging through the city. I mean, it's fantastic. Such a great movie. Go see it. You saw... I watched the movie earlier today in the movie theaters. You saw Spider-Man too? Yeah, it was fantastic. Abdul El Sayed's coming back on for the end of the interview. I'll be right back.
This is the New Yorker Radio Hour. I'm David Puffin, and I've been speaking with Abdul El Sayed, a Senate candidate from Michigan. His chief opponent for the Democratic nomination is Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who enjoys the support of the Democratic Party establishment, people like Chuck Schumer in the Senate. And Michigan's very popular governor, Gretchen Whitmer, just endorsed her too, so the dynamics of the race could change. Meanwhile, AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobbying group, has absolutely flooded the Senate race with money to defeat El Sayed, who's from an Egyptian immigrant family, grew up around Detroit, and has been very critical of Israel's behavior, particularly in the Gaza war. And there's a real question about whether a progressive agenda can win in a state that went for Donald Trump in 2024. I'll continue my conversation now with Abdul El Sayed. Now, a freshman senator, much less even a second-term or third-term senator, if they're lucky, I mean, they can vote on everything, but in order to make real headway, usually come down to one issue. One issue. Would you say that healthcare is going to be yours?
Healthcare and the thing that's keeping us from having healthcare, which is money in politics.
Tell me what your first steps are.
So, God willing, we take the majority. We're in the Senate. I got 2 jobs from that point on. And I also want to remember that politics is path dependent. There's a story that's constantly being told. And the fact that you and I are having this conversation is a function of the fact that this is not just any Senate race. AIPAC and all the powers that be have effed around and made this the highest stakes Senate race probably this cycle and for a long time. And when you spend $60 million to beat one person, you just turn that person into David. You gave me a gigantic platform. Thank you so much, AIPAC donors. I'm so grateful for you. And that means that I have an opportunity here to use that platform to move a set of conversations. I got 2 jobs when I get to the U.S. Senate.
All right, sorry guys.
Into the Trump administration as possible, right? If I get a seat on that health committee, which I hope I will, then it's the opportunity to haul up a guy like RFK Jr. and start asking and start connecting dots to how much money he's actually made on the grift and people around him have made on the grift. It's hauling up Big Pharma and talking about how much money they've made on their grift.
You're accusing of RFK of making money on the grift. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, that reporting is out there around his many connections to folks who have profiteered off of an anti-vaccine movement. And then for Big Pharma, I mean, this is an obvious grift. They just are able to buy off politicians on both sides of the aisle to make sure that they can continue to have very
You finally saw
pushback when they
Smurfs?
want to raise prescription drug prices.
Oh yeah.
And then the other thing I got to do
I'll make
in
you
those
another
first
one.
2 years is use the incredible platform.
It'll be later
that
tonight or
AIPAC and
tomorrow.
all these mega donors are giving me to move the conversation about who we are and who we want to be, to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all, and lay the groundwork through the state of Michigan for a president who is going to act on day one to do these things.
AOC
That's the
or Daria
first
Lisa.
2 years of my job.
Abdul, your
Avila
name
de
has
Chevalier.
been connected quite often with the
Daria Lisa,
kind of left-leaning
Avila
energy in the party.
Chevalier.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie
Or
Sanders,
AOC for
Lauren
president.
Muldowney, and yet you have not joined the Democratic Socialists, the DSA. Why not?
Too much of a scientist, I guess. I'm a capitalist who read about capitalism. And when you read about capitalism, it is very clear, even to the originators who coined the idea, that the biggest risk to capitalism was not going to be government regulation, as much as the corporatists want you to think it is. It was always going to be monopoly. And we know that hypercapitalism tends toward monopoly. We also understand that that happens in part because when a corporation gets big enough, it has enough power to start rent seeking, which is a fancy term of saying influencing government action to protect its own interests. And that's the place
just
we
so
are
smart.
right now.
He's got it all.
I think small business is amazing. I think it's a really efficient way to move capital into the areas where it can be really efficient to create a lot of jobs. I'm just not a socialist. And so I want capitalism to work the way it was supposed to work, not the way that the corporations tell us it's supposed to work.
And we can disagree on that too, but
I'm sure
he's
people
great on
know
everything.
the answer to this, but the presumptive Republican candidate in the race, Mike Rogers, recently told his supporters in I think it was a private call, that if you win the nomination, he is, quote, in good shape. In other words,
hasn't been in good shape since the 90s, but
well,
yeah.
This was reported by CNN, I think.
I'm not going anywhere.
What's your reaction to that?
I'm just listening
And
to this
why
while
do
it's
you
on the radio.
think he says it, and why do you think he might be wrong?
It's had the radio in my car.
I think he says it because all of his base understands the risk of actually having to go up against somebody who's willing to take the fight to them. And here's why he's wrong.
That's exactly what
In
it
the
is.
90s, you asked
Exactly
for
what
tens
it
of
is.
millions of dollars
We
from your
got this.
benefactors. Then you put 30-second ads on TV, and then you won because you were able to get more money and spend more on TV. And I think what we're showing is that if you can move your message and it
The
is
message matters
consistent
more.
and authentic to who you are, people see past the 30-second ads on TV, because guess what? Nobody likes the commercial part of a TV show. Nobody's ever like, man, I can't wait to watch the commercials. So all
I
that is to
kinda do,
say that, like,
but I'm kind of a
he's just
weirdo.
got an old-fashioned view of politics. And this is why, in fact, it's that old-fashioned view of politics which is itself so hypocritical and damning. This is a guy who took
It's a good idea.
6 figures from the pharmaceutical industry, voted I don't know how many times to raise prescription drug prices, helped to architect the opioid epidemic, and then made $14 million after his time from Florida, where he moved to in a McMansion. I mean, the guy would rather be golfing in Florida. And even there, like, he's probably like one of those, I don't know, he's like the beta character in the show. He's like the one who laughs extra loud. And then the other part of it is, like, he's just confused about who he is. Like, he wants to be ultra MAGA, but he was very against Donald Trump, which is why his own base is kind of circumspect about him. And I'm going to force him into conniptions. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it's going to be awesome, Abdul. You're going to be amazing. We got to elect him. We got like 3 days left to help support him, to elect him and get him through the primary.
I totally understand your
It would be cool for Notre Dame to ride along with me.
I totally understand.
Thanks for the suggestion.
Your critique of,
Do you totally
October
understand
7th?
the outrage
It's not
about
like
the
you
Gaza
endorsed
war?
October 7th.
Why would you even suggest that?
Unfortunately, some people have. But it seems that you get very prickly when you're asked the question, does Israel have a right to exist, and similar questions like that.
I'm not prickly. He had a very good answer to that. I can repeat it for you.
That in the late 70s made its
No country has a right to exist as an ethno-state apartheid.
And God knows there's still
And countries don't have rights to exist.
Among those countries. But what is your hope for a resolution?
Nobody's asking about other countries having rights to exist.
States? Is it one state?
If it was one state with actual rights for all the people living in it,
sense of the situation there,
they could actually vote.
Well, David, since you're giving me some time for nuance, I deeply appreciate it. Allow me some nuance.
Sure.
Number one, I think we often frame the conversation around what's happening there rather than what's happening here. And what's happening here is that there are communities where the median income is $14,000 a year, and those kids go without good schools, and those kids go without functional infrastructure. And I think the foundational question to me is, what do we owe those kids around their tax dollars? Number one. Number two, I believe in equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for Palestinians and Jewish Israelis alike. And I believe that it is not my job as an American policymaker to get to decide what the ultimate peace should be. But it is my job to make sure that our resources are stewarded correctly for the people I'm responsible for, those kids going to those broken schools. And I also believe that it is my job to do that doubly when we exist in a kind of hypocrisy around how we've thought about that issue for a very long time. The very same people who tell you, you have to believe in a two-state solution, are constantly aiding, arming, and abetting an Israeli government that has been dead set on foreclosing on the possibility of a Palestinian state since we've been funding them. So forgive me if I'm not going to play the cosplay thing where I allow the money that should be spent to take care of our kids to be sent to a military that has done a genocide, at baseline does apartheid, is now attempting the annexation of southern Lebanon, to foreclose on the possibility of Palestinian self-determination. So here's what I believe. I believe we have a responsibility to uphold international law. I believe we have a responsibility to treat every single state the same way around international law. I believe in a process that offers a free Palestinian people the equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination that a free Jewish Israeli people ought to have. And then I will support whatever the outcome is that a free Palestinian people and a free Jewish Israeli people decide is the right outcome. If that's 2 states, great, I'm for it. If it's 1 state, I'm for that. If it's this land for all model or 23 states or whatever it is that they decide. But I am not okay saying that as a senator from Michigan, I'm going to take tax dollars from Michigan, send them to a foreign government that does heinous things in contraposition to the ideals that I support, and then sit here and be like, yes, but I'm for a 2-state solution when I know that the current status quo is never, ever going to allow that to happen.
You campaigned with Hassan Piker, and I don't think anybody would say that you have to be in complete accord with anybody that either supports you or votes for you or campaigns for you, but that was a prominent thing. It was in the national press. And
I still haven't seen any video of
it. He doesn't have an issue with Hezbollah. That was a quote. He said that Mao Zedong was a great leader. How much do you depart from Hassan Piker? Where do you accept his support, and where do you get down in the trenches with him and argue?
Yeah, I mean, he and I are not going to agree on everything. And we've debated this. Like, yes.
Do you find those statements repellent to you?
Yeah, I disagree with him. I mean, but here's the thing, right? Like, on the same day that I campaigned with Hassan, I went on Fox and Friends. I find a lot of the things that the people on Fox and Friends say repellent. The fact that they platform Donald Trump. The fact that Donald Trump himself.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody. Wait. I don't think anybody has any illusions that your next job is going to be as a cast member on Fox.
Fox is basically WWE verbally for old folk. And like, if I'm the face, like, you can imagine I just go on there and just get like the steel chair on my head every day. Not going to be my next job, but because I'll be in the U.S. Senate. I think there's this platform politics that we've had since the 2020s, and I thought we rejected it because let's not forget, Hassan was invited to stream from the DNC by Vice President Harris in 2024. Let's not forget that. But in campaigning with him, everybody was like, well, how could you possibly? And I was like, did we not learn our lesson? That we need to go talk to people who have large audiences, who have felt locked out of the political process for a very long time. And even though he and I might have differences, there are things I disagree with him on. He has an audience of nearly 3 million people who watch him regularly. And I really want to show that audience that there is a way forward where you can stand up for a politics that's more about guaranteeing you healthcare than sending bombs to drop on other people. Awesome. That is willing to stand forthrightly against genocide wherever you see it. And though he and I might disagree on China or cars, and certainly he said some things that I find deeply distasteful, that does not mean that I should not go and speak to his audience and speak to him. And I think the faster Democrats recognize that, the faster we're going to be on a pathway to actually winning elections.
If they want to win, we got to get the real Democrats, the real progressive Democrats that actually want to win, aren't just holding space for the next Trump boutonniere.
Back to a state like Michigan. And anybody who knows anything about Michigan, not just Detroit, but across the state, knows that over the years it's suffered terribly from deindustrialization. So is President Trump selling snake oil there? Is that something he
Isn't that what he always does?
How do manufacturing jobs come back to a state like Michigan?
I think it is possible. I think it is not possible the way he's done it. I mean, the thing about Donald Trump is the through line for him, and you've covered him, the through line for Donald Trump is Donald Trump will do whatever gives him attention and adoration in the moment. That's kind of what he is. And on that, he's also
going to do everything for Putin to destroy America. Like, it's not like there's not an overarching goal of destroying America for Putin.
Pathological narcissist who is like the end game of narcissism. And he's very, very charming. He's very, very good at telling you what you want to hear. And credibly, he's not a part of the political system. When he came in, he was not a part of the political system. And people give him a lot of credit for that. And ask yourself, how much must people hate the political system? If they were willing to give their vote to a narcissistic megalomaniac billionaire.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Narcissistic megalomaniacal people are bad things. But people gave him the benefit of the doubt because they hated the system worse.
Narcissistic
I think you can actually
megalomaniacal. You mean
build
narcissistic, not
manufacturing jobs again, but
megalomaniacal.
not this way. So if you were to do it,
So how do you
here's
do
how
it?
you do it.
Yeah.
Number one, you would need to invest massively in research and development for high manufacturing potential industries. To me, that is, yes, auto, but it's also, it's auto in the place that auto is going, both maintaining our lead when it comes to internal combustion engines, but also the future of EVs, which have overtaken markets all over the rest of the world. It's also green technology and the ability to create renewable energy quickly. And then what you would do is you would invest in early stage startups and legacy corporations, right, in ways that were targeted on jobs and jobs and jobs, not targeted on stock buybacks and stock performance. And then you would create very specific tariffs that were extremely transparent, specifically around protecting those growing industries, and then you would subsidize those industries in a big way. So if we want to actually win the future of auto, we need to continue to be the best at building internal combustion engines. And also, I would love to see us subsidize EV manufacturing
Just
so
seize
that
Tesla.
you can get a $25,000.
Just seize all companies that funded Trump's ballroom.
Anywhere and everywhere, and we have the charging station.
Just seize every company, Lockheed Martin, Google,
for 10 years,
Amazon,
right?
Tesla,
Not these $7,500
everything
tax
that
credits
funded
for
Trump's
cars that only rich
ballroom.
people can afford. I'm talking about a
Ballroom trying to
$25,000
ball.
300 range EV. Like, that's the metric, and we'll get it to $25,000.
Seize Tesla and do it.
If we did that, we would immediately become the world's leader in EVs. Why? Because we have the best manufacturing technology, best manufacturing talent, and best engineering talent in the world. We're just not investing in them. And too often the big three have been more interested in a quarterly bottom line and stock buybacks than they have been in the next 10 years of their industry, which is why we see this, schizophrenic approach to whether or not we are going to or not going to make AVs.
How do you feel about artificial intelligence and its potential as an economic driver and its effect on the job market?
I'm worried as hell. And I'm worried as hell because this is the first technology that young people are rejecting outright.
In the medical field, and I speak
Stop
to you
the
as
billionaires, too.
somebody of real knowledge, potentially AI is going to be an incredible boon to medical research
already
and
is so
medical
far.
practice.
In some ways.
It could. And look, I think that's great. The problem right
But
now
isn't
is
it
that
going to
that's
tell
not
us
the
to have
incentives that
universal
they're
health care?
driving. They keep telling
Isn't
us
that what the
this.
intelligent
But
thing
then
is?
I keep hearing headlines about how many jobs lost. And then here's the other side of it. Toward what incentive? Like the technology, David, I'm not against the technology. I think the technology is incredible. I'm against
Stop
the
the
incentives driving
billionaires.
the technology.
Yeah,
And
the
I think we
billionaires
need to
in control of it.
rethink those incentives. Now, here's my worry, is if you've got AI that's second guessing every doctor, the AI battle between the two at some point is going to resolve when one of those sides wins. And you're already seeing healthcare providers buy insurance companies and healthcare insurers buy healthcare companies. And when that happens, you end up having even less competition in the system as it stands. And if this is an AI war to figure out how to build better and extract more money from our pockets, that to me is not the promise that they sold us on.
Compared to how
many
China's doing it with
Democrats
Kimmy and
would like
DeepSeek
to
and
distance
doing it better
themselves
with
from identity politics, trans
unified
rights,
efforts.
saying that
I think
kitchen
unified efforts
table
would be-
issues, so-called, are the
Trans people eat at kitchen
prime
tables
examples.
too.
And if any emphasis on identity drives people away. You've heard this a lot from
No, that you
Rahm
have
Emanuel, you've
fascism
heard it from
luring
Gavin
people
Newsom.
away with
How do you respond to
fear mongering.
that impulse?
The idea that we can
Bigotry.
assent to the taking away of anybody's rights
Thank you,
and
Abdul.
think that somehow government won't come for all of our rights is itself the problem. And look, I don't need people to understand how they use their rights. I just need people to agree that government shouldn't be able to take any of our rights. I put my face on the ground 34 times a day, David.
In prayer.
Yeah, most people don't understand why I do it. I don't need them to understand. I just want to have the right to do it.
Thank
And
you.
so, and when people
Example.
decide that they want to take away my right to do that, I've got a problem. Now, I hope that everybody's going to show up and say, no, you can't stop that person or that community from reflecting and praying as they choose. Similarly, when it comes to trans rights, this is the right to get the healthcare that you need. That's really what it comes down to. It's the right to be who you are. It's the right not to be discriminated against by your government because of who you are. Because what tends to happen is they
Or
come
are they
for
playing
theirs,
this music?
then they come for yours, then they come for theirs.
Oh, because that.
And at some point, you live in a society where rights are negotiable, and that is not the America I was born in.
Thanks,
It's not the
Abdul El
America I
Sayed.
know and love. It's not the America I'm allowed somebody like Donald Trump to give us.
I really appreciate your time. Thank
That
you.
was fantastic.
Thank you.
Abdul El Sayed is a Democrat running for U.S. Senate. Michigan's primary is August 4th.
We got this.
This is
3
the New
days
York
to make it
Radio Hour.
happen. Oh,
Stick
it's going to
around.
be such a big victory for Democrats and for Americans and Earthlings and progressives.
The New Yorker Radio
Go,
Hour
Abdul El
is supported
Sayed.
by Progressive
We
Insurance.
got this. It's going to be
HomeQuote
awesome.
Explorer helps homeowners compare rates and coverages and choose the right home
I'm going
insurance
to shut it down
for
after
them
that, though. That
from
was
a
the
network
best.
of companies in one
What a great
place.
live stream.
Learn more at
Not because of you guys.
progressive.com.
Alina was here. But it was a great live stream because of what we got to hear
once
and
divided among
record.
several U.S. territories. Then the Pikes Peak Gold Rush brought a flood of fortune seekers and a need for law and order. So settlers proposed a state. Voters said no. Why pay for a state government when Congress might fund a territory instead? So they created the unofficial Territory of Jefferson. It passed laws and tried to collect a $1 tax. Miners replied, absolutely not. Congress stepped in and created the official Colorado Territory in 1861. 3 years later, Governor John Evans pushed for statehood. Voters rejected it again. Some feared it could also mean the Civil War draft. Leaders kept trying. President Andrew Johnson vetoed statehood twice. Finally, in 1876, President Ulysses S. Grant signed the proclamation that admitted Colorado to the Union.
A Colorado 150 postcard, supported by Denver Zoo Conservation Alliance.
Ever have a moment when you learn the truth behind a story
On
and
the
it
media.
changes how you think about a whole lot of things?
Brooke Gladstone.
I'm Brooke Gladstone from On the Media, and we
It's a
have
good
that
show.
experience
She's good.
every single week.
It's kind of a rush.
It's kind of a rush. So join us at WNYC Studios On the Media. Saturday evenings at
Okay.
8.
Kinda wanna hear what the
and
next
Sunday
thing is.
afternoons at 2 on
Fine, good. Not you.
KRCC
You wouldn't
and
know what
CPR
good
News.
is. You're a Trump near.
This is the New York Radio Hour. I'm David Remnick. An incumbent mayor of Los Angeles hasn't lost a bid for re-election in a quarter century. And so under normal circumstances, this election should be pretty smooth sailing for a Democrat like Karen Bass. But Bass's first term has been full of bad headlines. Headlines in particular about her handling of the devastating wildfires of last year, and also about a homelessness crisis that seems to many Angelenos to be absolutely out of control. A so-called jungle primary in June saw a surprisingly potent challenge from a conservative, the reality TV
conservatives.
star Spencer
I
Pratt.
don't have a chance to win.
And
I thought he
also
was
from
out
a
already.
former ally of Bass's, Nithya Raman. Raman now faces Bass in the runoff.
Oh,
She
good.
serves on LA
Why'd you
City
even mention
Council.
Spencer Pratt?
And when she won her seat in 2020,
Trump
she
near of
defeated
you.
an incumbent in what the LA Times called
Why are you talking so low all of a sudden?
earthquake. She's aligned herself with the Democratic Socialists of America, but Raman isn't exactly leaning into that affiliation. In fact, in our conversation, you'll see how she negotiates it. Her candidacy is powered above all by a frustration with Democratic Party leadership.
Just Abdul,
That's
even though he's not a
something that
Democratic
she shares
socialist.
with a lot of candidates across the country.
We aren't just running against an incumbent, we are running against the entire political machine. But
It's
we
like
have
all of the
something that
progressives,
they
they
don't.
lose.
We have a vision of the city that we know is worth fighting for.
I spoke with Nithya Raman about how to succeed.
And she'll
where
be
she
the
thinks
Mamdani
other
of the
mayors
West.
have come up short.
Mamdani of LA.
Tell me about the dynamics of the race that you face.
Yeah,
La
what was
Mamdani.
interesting about this primary was that it had the highest turnout for a primary that we'd seen.
Mm-hmm.
A huge number of voters voted. And
And a very close one.
yeah, and it was close. I mean, I got within 5 points of a sitting incumbent mayor. And Spencer Pratt got a significant portion of the vote,
He
right?
sure
So
did.
people,
Yes,
he did. So people turned out to vote in a mayoral primary who may not have voted in mayoral primaries in the past.
Okay, you got to explain for non-Angelenos the phenomenon of Spencer Pratt.
Why? He's
A
out.
reality TV personality.
He's a
doesn't even begin
Trump-near.
to
He's a
explain
traitor,
it.
and everybody hates
But who
Trump-nears
got a
and
hell of
traitors.
a lot of votes. How do you go about even thinking about
Because they
appealing
brainwash people throughout America with
voters.
Trump-Putin propaganda from the
I think
KGB
what
and
Spencer
FBI
Pratt
and
was speaking to
Trump's
is
team
a
class.
very real frustration
Davos class.
with the way that things are going here in the city of Los Angeles.
And
He
all
is
the
speaking
racism
to
and stuff. It's not like you don't have
frustrations around
racists in Los
persistent
Angeles.
homelessness. He is speaking to frustrations about
Don't try to just win them over.
the lack of services
You can
around
distinguish yourself from the
the
fascists
response
too.
to the fires. And so I think the frustrations that he was speaking to
So not enough socialism, because
were
that's what firefighting
very,
is,
very
right?
powerful.
Socialism.
And yes, I'm here because I'm frustrated too.
You feel that even though, despite the, let's just put it this way, vast difference between you and Spencer Pratt,
You could talk about
that
some of
you
that.
can somehow get his voters
I
because it was about disaffection.
I think I'm hoping that's at least some of them.
She doesn't
some of
want to
them
be
will stay
tarnished
home.
with
I know
saying she'll
that. They
accept
will
his
say,
voters.
oh, it's the
Yeah.
left and lefter, we're not voting for anyone here. But I hope that I can get some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I used to, when I was running for city council,
Well, why not? They're
I
not
got
all
Trump,
committed to the
Rahm, and
racism
voters.
part.
And the reason I got those voters was because I was speaking to
Her
what I would
voice
do
sounds like
directly for
AOC.
residents, and in my second election, that what I had delivered for residents.
Now, you endorsed Karen Bass before deciding to run and challenge her. What motivated your decision? When
That's
did you
interesting.
decide you'd be a more effective mayor than Karen Bass?
When a sitting mayor asks a sitting council member for their endorsement, you generally provide it, as many of my fellow council members have, because you depend on the mayor to work with them
Right.
in order to be able to move things forward in your district. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but I had been getting more frustrated with the direction of Los Angeles. I had been very excited about this mayor when
Hopefully the
she
Trump-Putin year is
first
going to vote
ran
for you.
and campaigned
However
for
it
her
works.
and endorsed her and, held events at my home for her. And in office, I had seen, particularly over the last couple of years, just a lack of urgency around the issues that I felt mattered most, and in some ways a complete moving away from the direction that I felt LA needed to be moving. So that included the responses to our disasters, our Palisades fires, and now again the Boyle Heights fire. But also her response to housing issues. Housing, I think, is kind of the key fault line in Los Angeles. We absolutely desperately need more housing. Cost of housing is skyrocketing, and this mayor was not prioritizing it. And that kind of lack of urgency was incredibly frustrating. But I think the thing that really started undermining my trust was something that a lot of Angelenos are seeing as well, which is that in LA, and particularly this mayor, but it's part of a broader culture of decision making, many of the decisions in City Hall are made around political interests as opposed to what's right for the city of Los Angeles.
How has the city resisted building housing, and why, and how are you going to change systemically?
Well, so for decades, multiple people's political careers here in the city of Los Angeles have been really built around saying no to new housing. We had Zev Yaroslavsky and Marvin Browdy, who ran on political platforms, council members and later supervisors who ran on